Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is No Soundbites Allowed. I am your host, Michael Voss, the political dragon, from our studio here in the Bronx, New York. And it's October 12th. It's approximately 12:30 in the morning. I just couldn't go to sleep. The events over this week have been just weighing on me, and they have been really upsetting me. And I wanted to speak about that. I just wanted to react to that and share that reaction with you. You may agree, you may disagree. But I think it needs to be said because I really don't think there is enough being said about this. About the individuals, the far left, the progressives that have come out and they're supporting Hamas in their terrorist actions that we have seen throughout this entire week that continue to go on even at this moment. And they're supporting this. They're cheering this on. And I think this is devastating for America. I think it's devastating for the world in terms of stability, in terms of peace. It's incredible. But before I go into my reaction and explain what I'm reacting to, what is upsetting me, what's keeping me from going to sleep, before I get to that, I want to share with you that if it's the first time that you are seeing our program, we welcome you. We thank you for being part of our audience. We want you to know we do long-form political commentary. And of course, every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do a live stream with you. We reach out on all the social media that we can access to be able to hear from everyone across the world, to hear your thoughts about these issues that affect us all. Because we believe in freedom of speech. We believe in the First Amendment. It's not just an American principle. It is for everyone in the world. And whether your government agrees or not, whether the internet agrees or not, we want to hear what you have to say. And we hope you'll join us this Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So what is it that's bugging me right now? Let me explain. Earlier today, it's Wednesday, I had the lunch with the Sharp crew. It's a live stream that I do at lunchtime with Larry Sharp, Charla Burnett. It's a conversation between a conservative, a liberal, and Larry Sharp, the libertarian. And something that was said during the discussion today is something that just triggered me. It's kept me up all night. I want to share a piece of that with you right now. It gets very complicated.
It's
no
a very
one wants
complicated and nuanced issue. And that's why I think that a lot of people are misinformed and make their decision on who they would like to support or how that support is being implemented because they're making that basis off of
let me make myself very clear, straight up. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I am definitely pro-Israel. I am definitely against Hamas, which is funded by Iran. They're a group of terrorists. The latest thing that they did is absolutely unequivocally an act of terrorism. There is no justification for it, period. And I am very much understanding and supportive of Israel's response to this because it is that they are going through what is on par with our 9/11 and is ongoing. And I want to make myself very clear. There is no question in my mind about it. So I'm not sure if you caught what set me off there. What was I guess what they call the triggering moment, a thing that got me thinking and upset. And it's the fact that what do we keep hearing from the intelligentsia, what we're hearing from academia, what we're hearing from the far left, whether it be BLM or the Democratic Socialists of America, what we keep hearing from these groups is, well, you just don't get it. You're not smart enough to understand. You don't know enough to know that you should be cheering for Hamas. I just don't accept that. I do not accept that at all. Because I think it's insane. I think it's ridiculous. It is so blind to what we see happening before us right now. And we need to really look at this in detail. On Sunday, while I was doing the live stream in New York City, the Democratic Socialists of America, the party that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Jamal Bowman, they're all part of this organization. And what do we see? They came out and they decided that on Sunday, as we were finding out that 800 individuals in Israel have been murdered, innocent civilians, women and children were slaughtered. And as the news was being reported live around the world, they decided that that was the moment that they needed to come out, and they put out this flyer. Please come join them as they celebrated Hamas in its terrorist attack, a sneak attack, a terrorist attack targeting civilians. 5,000 rockets were fired in 24 hours targeting civilians. They didn't attack the military. They didn't attack law enforcement. I talked about this on Sunday. They targeted civilians. They went to a music festival and killed 250 people. They went and they killed children, babies. Let's be very clear about that. They killed babies. They beheaded babies and children. Okay, that's an act of terror, and it is vile, it is repugnant, it is the worst kind of atrocity we could possibly imagine. You don't get more innocent than a baby. And this is coming from the world international media. It's coming from everywhere in the world that this is being reported and confirmed. That we are seeing children, as well as women and parents and individuals from around the world. These aren't just Israelis, by the way. These are individuals who are from Germany, from Nepal, from the United States. And they targeted all of them just because they happened to be there. The statements have come in. Hezbollah is supporting Hamas. Iran is supporting Hamas. The Democratic Socialists of America, the BLM, Harvard University, and several other colleges, they're supporting this. They're behind this. They're saying yes. Notice, the greatest supporter, the number one supporter of terrorism in the world, Iran, and its puppets in Hezbollah and in Hamas, they're on the same side as these individuals who commit acts of terrorism and have proclaimed acts of genocide, and that's who they are supporting. I want that to sink in New York City, in Chicago, at colleges across America, which includes Tufts University, and of course the one that's getting the most attention, Harvard University. And I know Harvard has come out and said, well, just because it was 30 different student organizations across Harvard, well, that doesn't speak for Harvard. Yeah, I think it does. 30 different groups decided that they wanted to come out and say they supported terrorism, to kill women and children, to kill civilians, to kill babies, and to take hostages. Let's not forget that part as well. I think most people are forgetting because we emphasize whenever we're seeing the news media, obviously they lead with the blood and the guts, unless they're CNN where they do the fake video of a fake attack against their reporters, or it seems to be that, let's say it's alleged. But no, other than that, they lead with blood and guts, and so they want to put up the headlines. 1,600 people killed so far. Over 22 Americans so far. That we have seen individuals from Nepal and from Germany. They're leading with that, but they want to leave out the fact that, well, yeah, they're being used as human hostages. The cowards of Hamas, the cowards of Hezbollah and Iran, the terrorists there, they are so cowardly that they knew they were going to get retaliation, and to protect themselves, they have grabbed these hostages and they have used these hostages as shields to try and protect themselves against the rightful response. And it's like here in America with 9/11, where thousands of Americans were killed. We may see before this is done that Israel will have numbers equal or exceeding what we had happen here in 9/11. And at the time, in 2001, what were we saying in America? Every American was willing to glass a nation for what they had done. And yet, these very same organizations, these universities, these BLM, the far left, the Democratic Socialists of America, they're saying, no, but you should be supporting these murders. It's truly terrifying to me. And we know it's not going to end anytime soon. We know that Hamas is being trained and equipped, and they're using the money from humanitarian aid as well as monies that they are receiving from Iran, including the $6 billion that was recently released by the Biden-Harris administration. They are using these funds to buy rockets, thousands upon thousands of rockets, to buy weapons, to buy ammunition, to be able to attack and kill civilians. This has been coordinated. Many of the intelligence agencies around the world, many of the news media sources from around the world, all of them credible, are saying this has been something that has been planned for a long time, that has been executed with these funds, with this support, and it's not going to end. Again, Hezbollah has already said that they support this and they would attack any nation that would say that this was wrong. Hezbollah has already said that all of the Arab nations need to come together and attack Israel because they exist. The same thing they say about America, by the way. The very same thing they say about the progressives in America. The same Democratic Socialists of America, the same Harvard University, the same Tufts University, the same BLM that is walking around America trying to convince Americans that we should support them. They've said they want to kill those people too. Why? Because, well, women get to read. They get to go to work. Because you don't believe what they believe. That's their only justification. And let me be very clear about this. When I say this isn't going to end and that they want a genocide, well, we only need to go to the statements that are being made by members of Hamas, both former and current, their government. And what have they said? They are calling on nations, every Middle Eastern nation that surrounds Israel, all of them, to attack Israel right now. This is a repeat of the 6-day war that they are calling for everyone to attack Israel because they don't believe what these select groups believe. You can read their statement. It is in black and white from the international credible news media. This is what the individuals at Harvard support. Genocide. It makes you wonder, would they have supported the Germans, the 1930s Germans? Would they have supported their attacks against individuals who are Jewish or gypsies or minorities when they said, well, they had to eliminate those individuals? What about Kristallnacht? Would they have supported that night of terror? Because it sounds like they would. That's what they're saying. And that's what they want to convince you of. Because just like in my conversation earlier today, what did we hear? Well, you just don't understand. It's justified. You just don't get it. No, I do get it. I get it very much. Now, you may disagree with the government of Israel. That's fantastic. We can have many debates, and I've had them on this channel before, about many different governments, various pieces of legislation, whether they're good or bad, left and right, it doesn't really matter. We can have that conversation. That doesn't justify wholesale murder, especially of innocents, of civilians and children and babies. That never justifies that. There is no justification for it. But yet we hear from these groups over and over again, oh, no, but it's justified. You just don't understand. You just don't. Yeah, I do understand. It's not justifiable. You know what the Nazis did? They said they were justified too. Stalin said he was justified in his purge of Soviet Union. Mao said he was justified in his purge of the Chinese people. Che Guevara said he was justified in killing those who were against his type of government. We have heard from mass murderers, from Pol Pot, all the way through, forwards and backwards in time. This is not the first time that we have seen these atrocities. It is not the first time that we have heard these evil, vile leaders and governments say, oh no, you just don't understand. We're the good guys. We're right. You're not. I don't care who you are. When you're attacking children, when you're attacking innocent civilians, when you're just going wholesale slaughter for the fact of slaughter because you want to commit a genocide, whether it's in the Sudan or whether it's in Israel, it's just evil. It is just wrong. And now we see that in Harvard, well, all of a sudden, we're hearing these academics, we're hearing the intelligentsia, they're coming out to try and protect them. Oh, it's not their fault. Oh, don't blame all of them. They didn't know what was being said in their name. I think they did. They joined the organizations. They supported those organizations. They knew where they stood, and they said, no, I want to be a part of this. The people in the Democratic Socialists of America, when they went into New York City, into Times Square, they knew why they were there. They knew what they were saying as we were getting the reports of hundreds of individuals from various countries being taken as hostages and being beaten down the streets and being killed. They knew. They knew exactly. The kids at Harvard knew exactly what they were doing. BLM in Chicago, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly what had happened, and they said, no, it's okay. Now, the part that really gets me, as appalling as that is, the part that really keeps me up at night is something I don't think anyone is talking about. Because a lot of people said they're upset about this. And that's why we're getting all of these reactions from them that now they're backing away. Now that they've noticed they're not getting the support, that the majority of Americans and people from around the world, country after country, even Democrats are coming out and saying, this was atrocious. This is an atrocity. This is appalling. It is vile and evil. Now that they're saying they get no support except from Iran and from Hezbollah and from Hamas and from terrorists, the Houthis, they're getting their support. Individuals, the most atrocious and vile individuals in the world are supporting them, but no one else. And now that they're getting that pushback, and this may affect them, they're afraid because CEOs are coming out and saying, hey, we're not going to hire you because you believe in genocide. You believe in terrorism. You support terrorism. We've seen that Jamal Bowman's now saying, well, I'm not really part of the Democratic Socialists anymore. You're still a progressive. You got elected with that group. Now that it's not advantageous to your re-election, now you want to say, oh, well, I'm not with them anymore. Now that there's a problem, days afterwards, 5 days into this conflict, well over 1,600 people have been killed, hundreds have been kidnapped, 22 Americans have been killed amongst all the others around the world. Now we're seeing individuals saying, oh, I can't be part of the Democratic Socialists of America. You are happy to have their name on your banner. You are happy to be running with them on the ticket. But now, because you're getting some pushback, now because it may affect you, you're saying, oh, no. Well, I'm not really with them. I'm not really interested in supporting genocide. I'm sorry, it's a bit late. It's a little bit too late to be contrite. You stood there and you said you knew this was the policy, this was the ideology. You knew that when you said, I'm with them. Whether you're in the college or whether you're in the DSA or BLM, you knew this is what you were joining up to stand for. Just because now you're getting a little bit of heat for it, just because you're getting a little pushback for it, doesn't mean you get to say, I'm sorry, it wasn't really me, it was someone else. Your cowardice has no bounds. But I don't accept that. I don't accept that cowardice. But here's the thing that really gets me. Because it's even more than the cowardice that they have on display, the fact that they're not even willing to stand up for their convictions now that they're getting even the slightest bit of pushback against them, that they might be held accountable for what they have said and what it means. What they have said, it has a meaning, it has an impact, and that impact is the death of children, of babies. This is what it means. But let me really get down to the nitty-gritty that no one's really talking about. All of these individuals, they have told you, the American people and around the world, that they are willing to use genocide to get what they want, that their ideology is more important than your life, that you do not count, you are insignificant to them. Their feelings, their ideology, their desires are more important than your life. Because if they are willing to kill babies and support the murder of babies halfway around the world, what do you think they're going to do to the guy next door? What do you think they're going to do to the business that they go to every day? When push comes to shove and they're there, the ones who aren't saying, oh, I'm running for the hills, what about the rest of them? The ones who are still standing up and saying, no, but that's what I support. All the ones that are saying, no, you just don't understand. No, this is justified. The ones who are saying, well, you got to understand the nuance, the justification. Yeah, what will they do to you? If they're willing to kill, to support the murder of babies, if they're willing to support the murder of civilians in the middle of the day, out of the blue, if they're willing to support 8,000 rockets being fired 24 hours a day just into various habitations, just into various apartment buildings and residential complexes, if they're willing to support that, if they're willing to support the leaders of terrorism around the world, what are they willing to do to you? No one wants to talk about that because that is the consequence of this. This is the thing we have to consider. These are people, especially in Harvard, especially at these universities, they've been taught by the teachers, and no one wants to blame the teachers for teaching these kids to support genocide, that this is the consequence of their support as they have been taught to be able to do this. They've been taught to support this, and this is the consequence. No one wants to talk about that. And what happens when these kids who have been conditioned to support genocide, who have been taught to support terrorism, what happens when they get into the business world? When they go and try and become elected as the next round of leaders with the Democratic Socialists of America? When they try and say, well, no, I'm not that kind of progressive. I'm a different kind of progressive. I'm a liberal. I'm a Democrat. I'm a third party, whatever you want to call them. What happens when they start taking positions in businesses and in politics all around the world? What happens when they get those positions and they decide, you're not believing what I want you to believe? What are they going to do to you? No one wants to talk about that. What happens when they think they don't have to duck and cover because they're not getting the same kind of pushback as they got this time? What happens when the next time no one pushes back or they don't push back as hard? What if it's only the evil extremist MAGA people who do not support genocide, who do not support terrorism? What if it's only them pushing back? What if it's only the people who wouldn't get the jab? What happens when they are the only ones who are willing to stand up? What happens when it's somebody who's being ostracized by the mainstream media, the bad guys that are going to not allow whomever the media decides they want to see elected in the next election? What happens when they're the only ones who are complaining? What are they willing to do to you? It's a question that faces America right now. It's one of the most important questions we really need to ask. Our nation has gone somewhere that I never thought it would happen in my lifetime. I didn't think that would ever happen in America. But obviously I am wrong. So we have to ask this question, and it's a question that's keeping me up at night. And sorry, it should be keeping you up at night too. What are they going to do when they get power, when they get wealth, when they get the opportunity? What are they going to do to you? That should trouble you. It troubles me a lot. And we need to talk about this as a nation and as a world. That's my reaction. That's what's keeping me up at night. What do you think? This is No Soundbites Allowed, and I am your host, Michael Voss, Dragon of the Southern Tier. I'm happy to be here with you today. Eric Holder, the Attorney General of the United States, admitted he has not read the Arizona immigration law. I know it is a difficult task to stand up in front of our peers and say that Congress has failed to listen to voters.
You here at CPAC said yes to President Donald Trump in 2016, and I know you're going to say yes to
She was very aware that she had the flag in her hands and that the flag was dragging on the ground. That is an intentional action. She knows what she is doing. She then drops the flag.
Understand the logic, and we see this in social media on a regular basis, and it's something that Newsweek decided not to tell you about.
Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, a representative in Congress who is writing laws to deny American citizens their rights, has no idea what she's talking about.
And they are against the vaccine mandate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you support that?
Last time I checked, there were not a lot of planes crashing into each other at airports, right? You can meet a very, very stringent accuracy rate when it's important, when it matters, like in federal elections.
The quote from Joe Biden where he is admitting that he is willing to lie to the American people.